Welcome to the Real with Joseph Latman. I am Joseph Latman. Happy Wednesday to you guys. Hope you guys have a good week. Happy Hump Day. Hope you guys have a good week. Excited for today's show. My man, who you guys seen a couple times on here, Jeremy Lynch, will be joining the show today. Jeremy, about a couple weeks back or a month ago, him and I, the number one, Jeremy and I have been good friends. The Lynches are good family friends to the Lamtmans. Jeremy works with my dad. I've known Jeremy for about 2 to 3 years now, and he's become like an older brother to me. Him and I become really close, and obviously him and my dad are close as well. And it's been very cool to get to know Jeremy, and I'm still getting to know him more. I'm sure I'll find out a little bit more about him today, and maybe I'd haven't known. Maybe some of you guys watching who know Jeremy, maybe I've never heard some of these things he's talking about today. But about a month ago or so, Jeremy and I were talking one night, and he brought up a topic from his past about when he was a teenager, how he dealt with depression, the pressures in high school, being bullied and all this stuff. And I never knew about that, so him and I were talking about it more. And anybody that's followed my channel since I started this back in April knows that my story. When I was 15 years old, I had a lot of pressures put on me, a lot of expectations put on me. A lot of people had high hopes for me to do a lot of these great things at such an early age. And even the school I went to at the time, I went to a private school at the time, and there's a lot of pressures and expectations with that. And so, trying to maintain your grades, and you got to perform at a certain level athletically. You got to maintain everything. Everything's got to be at a high level. Just constant pressure. But a lot of times the pressure, we don't know how to internalize it. We don't know how to deal with it. And, for me, like I said, everybody knows my story. Maybe you've never heard, maybe you're new to this channel. Welcome, by the way. Hit the subscribe button, but hit the like button as well. But, at 15 years old, I didn't know how to deal with that kind of pressure. And I spiraled out of control. I had real bad health anxiety. I had health anxiety before that, and then I got put in a more pressure situation, and it kind of just went hand in hand. It just spiraled out of control. And then I got to the point where I had to leave my school abruptly, just because I was that bad. And for a long time, for years, I was depressed. I was down because I felt like I didn't reach the goals and expectations I was supposed to. And it took me a long time to get out of that. It took me a long time. Probably, I'm 23 now. It took me till I was about 21. So for a 6-7 year period, it took me to really get out of that. And it was a grind. And if you're new here, go check out my first video I ever did. That'll really explain it more. And other videos I've done in the past as well. But go back to that first one, and I get more in depth about my story. But today, I just want to give some context how I relate to this topic. But today it's about my man Jeremy Lynch, because he's the one that presented this topic to me, and I'm glad he did, because like I said, I've experienced it firsthand. But it took me a long time, guys, to realize that. And it's crazy. Before I bring Jeremy up, I want to say this real quick. It's crazy how often so many people are depressed and aren't even aware of it. Like, that's what I realized in my journey in my life, was just how I look back at just all the years, as days. I mean, there was days where I would just, do nothing, and I was on heavy medication. I had on anxiety medications, and I would just sit around all day and just do nothing. I would just constantly dwell on the past and all the things I didn't have, and it took me a while just to like slow down and really rationalize, kind of like, okay, what happened to me? Where did everything that I once had go? And you get to a hopeless feeling. And like I said, when I look back now, I realize just how I was depressed. And for a while, I was kind of denial about it. People would bring it up, and they'd be like, people would kind of mention it to me sometimes, like, hey, you think you're depressed? I'd say, no, I'm not depressed. I'm fine. But I was depressed. But the first step, though, to overcoming it is just admitting it, And that's what I had to do. I had to finally admit where I was, and it's not who I am, but by me admitting it, and I said, you know what, I'm going to address it, I'm going to fix this, and I'm going to overcome this. And so, and this all happened really in the summer of 2021. And so here I am about a year and a half later, and I got my own podcast, and my life's completely changed, and it's still growing in a lot of areas, but much better than where I was. And so I feel a lot more relieved. And most importantly, my connection with God is the strongest it's ever been. So, I brought Him back in the center of it because when you get depressed, your spirit gets low, and it's very easy to turn to things that aren't godly but worldly. And so, um, yeah. But without further ado, the man of the hour himself. Let's bring him up here. He's also on babysitting duties, so if you might, Jerry might have to tend to his 3-month-old now, Luca.
What's
Here you go.
up?
What's up?
Not
What's
much.
going
Just
on?
chilling with the little man. You know how it is.
Mm-hmm. How's
Wednesdays on
every?
the day off, I'm on daddy duty. So I got all his noise making toys over here. So if you guys hear baby toys in the background, I apologize. I'm trying to keep him entertained as long as possible so we can get this in.
Right.
Um,
No, it'll be good. But welcome to the real. Appreciate you coming on. Appreciate presenting
absolutely.
this topic. And I guess for because perhaps people watching it, they haven't seen you in a while. Some of the old car guys that we both know.
Yeah,
How's everything going for you?
it's good. Working the desk over at Fred Martin Nissan with your dad.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you want to talk about pressure?
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's awesome.
No,
He's
it's good. High standards working with my dad.
oh, definitely he sets the highest standards, but it's a huge compliment. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? The fact that he believes in me, and also people that don't believe in you don't expect don't expect anything from you. Um, so, there's things occasionally I'll mess something up. It's, learning curve, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's definitely some pressure to try to, you know, I guess live up to not only his expectations and the standard that he set, because he's one of the best to ever do it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he's obviously been my probably my biggest mentor in the car business.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned the most from. I've had several desk managers. I've learned a little bit from everybody, but
With some great
you're
ones too.
phenomenal ones.
Yeah.
But obviously your dad is demanding but rewarding at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
He's um, but also I consider him like I call him dad. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, I know how you say,
Or daddy,
Daddy.
depending on the context.
Yeah. Every time Jeremy will call they call each other about work and stuff, and I'll hear the phone like, "Hey, Dad," and I'll be like, "Oh, there he is."
There he
I just
is.
hear it off in the distance on the phone. I'm like, "Oh,"
Yeah. I'd be
but
like, "Oh, hey, girl,"
yeah,
if
hey,
Joey's on
girl.
the phone with him. Um, but yeah, it's been awesome. I'm learning a ton.
Mm.
It's
No, and
yeah,
he and
definitely pressures of
he's
that. I mean, shoot.
yeah.
I mean, that's perfect context. It's being the new guy trying to, I guess, carve out my piece of,
Mm.
of the way and trying to gain the respect and the trust from the guys around us. So that's, it doesn't happen overnight. Rome wasn't built in a day, but with some guidance from dad and just continuing to work, it's been great. It's been what?
Yeah, no, and I know he's been proud of you, and you're there now. Now Corey's there. Um,
Critter,
Critters, critters,
critter. He
critters
hates it.
there.
Critter. He said critter. The critter is dead. That was the previous dealership. So me and your dad have been.
He's
Yeah,
reinvigorated now.
yeah, we're trying to come up with something new, but once your dad will come up with it. He's good at
Yeah, he'll
coming up with a
figure it out.
nickname.
Yeah, he's got a
What,
nickname for
buddy?
everybody. That's what his dad was. But no, I mean, I know he's proud of you, and he knows the growing pains and everything's been good. But uh, I guess kind of real quick, what's been the biggest thing you've learned in this process about pressure? Just kind of like how you said about you're trying to build trust, obviously respect. You're working with people that have already been there, respectable salesmen, and Because you guys have
people that are
you guys
older
have a
than
good
me.
staff there. Yeah, because you guys have good staff there. You know, from I hear good people and people that work hard, and so you're trying to go in there and fit in. You're new to this position. So I guess kind of what's this been like, this process of trying to get the respect of your salesman, but also let them know they can trust you as well. You know what I mean?
Um, it's a sorry.
No, you're good.
It's it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight. I've learned, between having, Luca and,
Mm,
taking over as in a leadership position and a coaching position, which I love. Anytime a guy's like, "Hey, can you go in on a turn?" Um, I'm not getting anywhere with this customer. Can you go in on a turn, or can you come over
mm,
and talk to him? I love that. That's my favorite part about the job. Is it's like risotto when I first started in the car business. Because back at the superstore, Joe and Dan and Mike and Chad and them, they didn't have time. There's 43 salespeople. They couldn't get up from the desk and go on a turn. Granted,
no.
your dad would have loved to, Dan would have loved to, you know what I mean? And in times when we were slow, they would. But
Mm,
risotto is really that, you know, you sat in there, you listened to what he said, how he said it, because it's not always what you say, it's how you say it and
mm-hmm.
how you get your point. You know what I mean? How
Right.
you go about it.
Your
Um,
delivery.
yeah, 100%. You got to be the
Mm,
velvet hammer.
yeah. But you also,
Um,
I know I've learned too. Like sometimes, I know you probably learned this like with my dad, because my dad sometimes he gets in the moment. There's a lot of pressure. You're trying to do a deal. Sometimes don't focus on the delivery. Sometimes just focus on the message they're trying to say. you know,
yeah.
and you try to focus on that too. It's like a balance, but also yeah, like you said, how you talk to people, your delivery. But good thing for you is you've had a lot of good guys to look up to, and you know,
Hi, buddy.
yeah, you mean you've been around a lot of experience, so I mean you prepare for it. And
Hey, you say
hey,
hi.
buddy,
Say hi.
hey, Luca,
He loves anything with like a
he likes the
cute.
camera time.
Yeah, he's photogenic. Say hi, buddy. Say hi, big boy.
Hey, but no, I guess
So,
we'll start here. I know we kind of give kind of brief where you are now. We'll get back to that. I guess kind of, if you wouldn't mind, give kind of like a brief background of like kind of how you grew up, where you are, where you're from, and kind of your journey through high school, like I mentioned earlier.
um, oh yeah, you tell him, buddy. You tell him about it. You tell him. You say your Uncle Joseph is the coolest. Is that what you were saying? He nodded and said, "Yeah." There.
Yeah.
So, so,
No, you're good.
so, I originally grew up in Barberton, which is where I live now. My wife and I just built a house uh, here in Barberton. Yeah, what is going? What? So, I grew up. Both of my parents, Lukey. As soon as it's daddy's turn to talk,
Yeah, he does
bro.
not want us to do this today. He's like,
He
you
does
guys are not.
not.
This is not happening today.
What are you doing? I think he might be hungry.
We're watching
Hold up. Hold up.
Jeremy in action.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll do. Here's what I'll do. I'll let you get him settled. I'll play the video early. I'll do that.
All right. All
All
right.
right. I'll
Perfect.
bring you
Sorry,
back in a
dude.
minute. No, you're good. All right. So I'm gonna let Jeremy kind of calm things down a little bit. Yeah, we're trying to work around the clock. His schedule's a lot more complex because of his job and stuff. So here's what I'm gonna do. I got a video I'm gonna play on depression and kind of goes with pressure. Kind of give more context to this topic today for my man, the anxiety guy. It's a 3-minute video. I'm gonna play the video. Then hopefully when I come back, Jeremy's good to go, and we can get kind of his story. Kind of, I want to hear from him. So yeah, I'm gonna kind of just stall some time, guys. Give him a couple minutes, get the baby settled and all that. But I got this video I'm gonna play. Like I said, If you don't know who the anxiety guy is, he's one of my mentors, Dennis Simsek. Really is one of the biggest people to influence me, but also help me in a lot of ways, in so many ways. One of the reasons why I'm here doing this today is because of him. And he also just put out his new book, The Essential Guide to Health Anxiety. If you're looking for a great guide for health anxiety, go pick up this book today. I've been reading it and taking my time with it, learning and observing it, and applying it. It's not the kind of book you just kind of just brush through. This is definitely a book you read, go each chapter at your own pace, and it really is. It's an essential guide to overcome not just health anxiety, but anxiety in general, or depression, whatever you're dealing with. Uh, Again, highly recommend this book. It's very powerful. I'm only about halfway through because, like I said, I'm taking my time with it. And man, I tell you, just a less than a month of reading it, maybe in a couple. Actually, no, less than a couple weeks reading it. Uh, I've already got a lot more clarity and just it's I'm already changing myself from the book, and so like I just even and I was already doing well. I've done his programs and all that, but it's changing even more, and so it's this book has helped me take it to another level, and yeah, powerful book. But like I said, I got this video I want to play for my man on depression. And this is more like a motivational video. It's a 3-minute video. It's about to inspiration. Um, it kind of just this is a I'll link this video below too because I think a lot of people are gonna like it because this is something you should listen to every day. If you feel like you're somebody out there that has constant pressure, you feel like maybe you're depressed or down, you're just in a tough spot, you're in a jam, you're in a hole, right? And I've been there. I think this video, if you start to apply this every day and listen to it, uh, it'll really start to help empower you, get you going. And so I'll play this video real quick for 3 minutes, and then I'll bring my man Jeremy back up here.
I now realize that my thoughts cause my feelings and behaviors. Thank goodness. I now also realize that depressed feelings are the result of thinking that you absolutely need something, like you cannot live without it, and thinking that you will never get it. I now understand that the only thing that I really need are those things that keep me alive: air, food, water, and the likes. Everything else is a want or desire. I am entitled to my wants and desires. I just do not need them. Depression is also the result of thinking hopelessly. Hopelessness is irrational because it assumes that a person knows all that there is to know about his or her problem. No one knows all that there is to know about anything. Since I do want certain things in my life, I will first remind myself that they are only wants. Then I will remind myself that no matter how doubtful I might be that I will be able to obtain those things, it makes no rational sense to assume that there is no way to obtain them. Because I want these things, I will continue to look for ways to obtain them. I will remind myself that just because you haven't doesn't mean you can't. It only means you haven't. This philosophy will help me to continue searching for a solution. It is easy to be affected by mental filter, to pay attention only to information that supports hopeless thinking. That is why I will seek advice from people who know how to correct the problems that I have or achieve the goals I want to achieve. Ultimately, if I never obtain what I want out of life, that would be unfortunate for me. Not terrible, horrible, or awful, because they are only wants, not needs. Therefore, since they are wants, I might feel sad. That is it. So I can be happy with other things if what I have wanted doesn't work out. My brain allows it. Feeling depressed serves no useful purpose and, in fact, makes a person's situation worse. Therefore, I refuse to make myself depressed. Instead, I will focus my energy on finding a solution to my problems or a way to achieve my goals.
And yeah, and I love that video there. Again, you can see how he really shows you how to take kind of where you are and turn it around for good. And like he said, I like what he said. Like I said earlier, having the awareness of where I am. Okay, this is where I am. I accept it, but I'm okay. I will reach my goals and dreams, even if I don't get them right now. But also the energy. A lot of times, that's when anxiety, depression, and just you get like anxiety attacks and stuff. And it's something I've experienced firsthand. Obviously, is adrenaline. It's energy. That's all energy. You can have negative energy, sad energy. But you could take that energy and put it into different things and use it in a more constructive way for your own benefit. And so again, that's a powerful tool. That's like a skill set. You really train yourself how you and what happens is you stop reacting to things in a negative way. You start responding to things in a more positive way. And so my man Jeremy's back now. He's ready to roll, and I'm going to ask Jeremy. We're kind of hear his story now, and kind of what helped him respond when he was in his lower moments. And so, Jeremy,
Sorry about that.
no, you're good. Welcome back. It's all good. This is the real, so it would be the real if we didn't have
Yeah,
real life
he
things.
he wanted to speak his 2 cents.
He wanted his
Yeah,
camera moment.
yeah, but
It's all
yeah,
right. No, you're good. But I guess I want to start though, kind of just how you grew up, kind of like transition into, your how you when you got into high school and all that, and you started uh, facing some of those issues.
okay. So I originally grew up, both my parents in law enforcement. My dad and my mom both. My dad just retired a couple years ago. Um, you know, sh- Strict upbringing. Obviously, anytime you're anybody out there that has parents that are in law enforcement, there's very high expectations set for you. Um, my dad was very loving, but also, if we messed up or did something we weren't supposed to, he definitely, would
Throw
make
the
sure
hammer
that
down.
we throw the hammer down. Yeah, you know what I mean? But,
Yeah.
you got to. It's
Hmm.
made me into who I am today. And, I think there's a lack of that out there nowadays. There's no repercussions for actions that
Hmm.
that you make. For a lot of kids, lack of respect.
Right.
But anyway, obviously, strict upbringing. I originally grew up in Barberton. Um, Played football, basketball, and baseball. Played AAU travel basketball. Started both ways, and you know what I mean, in
Hmm.
football. In youth and everything like that. Um, was really good at baseball. Baseball is probably my best sport. Made every played little league, made the all star team every single year. Played travel baseball year round. So really busy lifestyle, I guess you could say it was, but I loved it. I love sports. That was kind of my
Hmm.
happy place, I guess you could say. Watching games with my dad, back when the Buckeyes in '02 won the national championship. Um, may have been a bullshit pass interference call, but we won the game and that's all that matters.
Yeah. Who cares? The trophy's in our house. Go Bucks.
Right, go Bucks. Um, but then halfway through my eighth grade year, my dad bought a house down at Lake Mohawk in Malvern, which is in the middle of nowhere.
The
It's
Vern.
yeah, the Vern, baby, about an hour south of Barberton, and my dad had an hour drive each way for work every day. So that was an interesting dynamic. Saying goodbye to all your childhood friends, all the people that you've played sports with your whole life, and then kind of trying to restart that halfway through your school career at a whole new school with all new people. Barberton, there was like 300 kids in my class. Where going to the Vern, there was like think there was 62 or 63 that graduated with me.
Damn.
So that was an interesting dynamic. I was like, where the hell is everybody?
Right. That's
Um,
dramatic change.
yeah, it's it was definitely different.
So you can't. Would you think
Lifestyle
it was
was
like
different.
a culture shock for you?
Kinda, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, for sure. My
I've
first day,
experienced.
I
No,
was
I've
like,
experienced that
what
first at the
the?
same age.
I was like,
Yeah.
what in the world? But I
Hmm.
mean, Malvern was really good at sports. I mean, every year we were in the regional finals, regional semifinals for football.
Hmm.
Um, we had probably the most successful 4-year window of football, basketball, and baseball that school's ever had. Um,
Wow.
I think I don't know if anybody's broken it, but at that we were the most winningest class
Hmm.
in football and basketball for sure.
Hmm.
Um, they've had a couple good years since. I don't know if that's been broken or not, but it was definitely a culture shock. It's also hard to, um, it would be like in today it would be like trying to think of like a it'd be like transferring colleges, I guess you would say. If you
Yeah,
if
like
you think
transferring schools and everything. Yeah.
transfer, yeah,
Yeah.
if like as because you're more of an adult at that point.
Hmm.
Um, it's like I guess it would be more like if for somebody that went to, let's say, Ohio State for their bachelor degree, and then for their masters had to go to Walsh or whatever.
Right.
You're starting all over again. Most of your friends are an hour or 2, 3 hours away.
Hmm.
Granted, it's a little bit different because you can drive and hang out and stuff like that. But um,
But you're also in a transition too at that age as well. Like I've just came
100%.
out of that kind of. So you're like in a transition yourself. You're trying to find yourself. You're a young adult.
Yep,
You're trying to a
100%.
lot of pressures, a lot of trying to navigate. Who am I? You're trying to find out who you are. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
That could add
The
to it.
the other thing is it was oh, this guy transferred from a big school. You know what I mean? There was a lot of
Mm.
pressure on me to perform athletically that I'd never had before.
Mm.
Um, my dad always had high expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
But it's
but
different though. You got more
he,
eyes on you.
yeah,
Yeah.
my dad did a really good job of not making me feel pressured to perform well.
Mm-hmm.
It was more of
It's like do
I
your
wanted
best.
to perform well for him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because when I had a really good baseball game, to see the smile on his face, or and my dad coached me all the way up through little league and everything, so there
Mm-hmm.
was that dynamic. I pitched, I caught, I played shortstop. Um, if I had a bad pitching game, he would never yell at me or anything like that, but I could tell.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, okay, you know, we need to work, spend a little bit more time on this, or
Mm-hmm.
this is where you're going wrong. But being at a small school, you don't have as many of the resources. Like we didn't have, um, our weight room was like a little shack kind of thing where, trying to fit 30 people in this room that's smaller than my kitchen and trying to have, all the weight equipment was old and outdated. Um, in athletics, most of our equipment was old and outdated. Like I swear to God, 3/4 of our shoulder pads were from the 70s.
Damn. So
Our
everything was
helmet
just a lot of older and out, just not like.
outdated. I mean,
It's
heavy. You
safe
know
to
what I
say
mean?
athletics wasn't the priority down there.
Well, it's just you don't have
The
the same
money.
boosters and the money and the stuff
That's
like
what I'm
that.
saying. Like it wasn't like, like other
But
places.
yeah, I mean, slowly they started to upgrade stuff as we would make the playoffs. The state pays the school for
Right.
us making the regional finals and winning, and then going to the state final four. You get paid
Right.
for that as well.
Mm-hmm.
So they use that money to buy some new helmets, some new shoulder pads, and stuff like that. But that stuff's expensive.
So you guys really had to
Um,
just go from scrap and really just
Yeah, I mean, it
Which
really
is
was. We got new jerseys my junior year. We got real nice new. I mean, they weren't like fancy Nike jerseys, but they were, Nike jerseys that were
right.
actually stretchy and not like the.
They just feel fresh. Yeah, they're new.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Well, we
Yeah,
got
you
new
put them things
pants.
on. I'm like, I'm gonna go out to score 4 touchdowns
We got new
tonight, baby.
home. We got new home Nike pants, and those things were, our practice pants felt like
Mm,
boa constrictors. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And then we put the new Nike game pants on that were stretchy and everything. It was like whole new world. You know what I mean? But I mean, the main pressures were, trying to make friends, trying to fit in. You know what I mean?
Mm,
I haven't been there since, elementary school with these guys and develop, lifelong relationships. I'm getting
right.
thrown into the middle of it. Um, and for a lot of things, yeah, I was athletic and I played sports and everything. Like people think that people that are athletic, they're the jocks,
Mm-hmm.
don't get bullied. Well, it does happen. You know what I mean? I
Right.
got picked on every day. You know what I mean? By other kids that I played with.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Um,
Now, did you think?
to a
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
to a point, um, where I started to hate who I was.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I
So it's like you started to question yourself in a lot of ways too.
Well, yeah, I questioned. You know, is it something I'm doing? Is it something about me? Is it, I would take the bullying as I'm not performing well enough on the field. You know what I mean? Because
Mm.
if I performed really well, nobody would want to pick on me, which that's a falsity. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's you know, um, kind of goes back to the guy that's a millionaire. I could
Right.
a lot of those people are miserable. Yeah, they're super successful monetarily in life,
Right.
but they're miserable. Those people face pressures. Those people,
Mm-hmm.
suffer from depression. Um, so it got to the point where maybe I had anxiety and I just didn't know it. I was anxious about it.
That was me
Um,
for a long time.
and granted, I didn't have it to the extent that you know you're battling with. You know what I mean? But
No, but I think from what you're telling me, it's like we're very similar. Our paths,
yeah.
like very similar. Because it's funny you say that, and I kind of I really understand what you're saying because it sounds like to me kind of like what I went through. There's a lot of expectations put on you, people to hear about you. They knew you were the guy before you went there, or like for me, with the new school I went to, I don't know if a lot of people, I didn't really know a lot of those people to be honest with you, but I'd come from middle school where I'd won a national championship in football. I played against better competition probably than more kids my age,
Mhm.
just because that's just what I grew up around. The people I played with, and the guys that I played with went on to be good college players as well. We played against a lot of great. I was just fortunate to play against a lot of great competition and be around a lot of great competition and coaches and guys that have made
Mhm.
it to the big leagues. And so I was
Yep.
fortunate. But with that, you put expectations on yourself, because you want to perform, you want to be the best. Obviously, you want to be. That's how I
Yeah.
thought. I wanted to be the best, but I also knew, like, hey, man, I got my experience. I believe in who I am. But then when I went to the new school like you, I had a culture shock because I went from a smaller school to a bigger school, and
Mhm.
it was a much different vibe, I guess you could say, than the people I was used to being around. Not saying it was bad, but I don't think I went in there with high expectations of myself when really I should have went in there and just kind of been more of like looking back now, obviously it's like, well, if I would have went in there and just been more just chill about it and just kind of like, just taking one step at a time and not put too much pressure on myself. But then with
Mhm.
that, you start messing up that pressure, and then the people
And
around you, your teammates, they're kind of like, hey man, like what are you doing? And it's like you said, like you start to question yourself and you
and then it
start to
multiplies.
yeah, to multiply. It's like I remember now a lot of mine was due to I had a real bad hypochondriac, like hypochondria from health anxiety, even before I went there. So
Okay.
you take that and you put it into change, it gets bigger. It's
Mhm.
like hand in hand.
Yep.
And like
100%.
I remember I made the basketball team freshman year, and I was upset I made the team because I didn't want. I was so fearful of just doing something new. Like this was so
Yeah.
new to me, and I made the team, and I was like, most people be like, yes, and I'm kind of like, fuck. I'm like, I remember I
You're
went
like,
to the card. I was, yeah, I'm like, oh no, this is all like I just felt so uncomfortable. Like I didn't know
yeah.
anybody, and so it, it was so bizarre. But yeah, I totally get it. But what kind of I guess kind of I mean, well, yes. How bad did you think you got to a point? Like, what was your lowest point to where you said, "Okay, this is it"? Like,
My lowest point was probably my probably my either my sophomore or my junior or my senior year.
mm,
There's a couple points where it was, I was one of my coaches. I'm not gonna name any names.
no, no, I don't
Um,
need a lawsuit coming up. No, just play.
yeah, he's retired now, but
Nah, no, just kidding.
um, one of my coaches, kind of, I felt like had it out for me the whole time.
Mm,
When I was just as good or better than some of the other people. My sophomore year,
mm,
they played and I didn't because I was not from there. I didn't have, you know what I mean.
right. Oh, yeah, I
I
know
was I
exactly
was
what you
the
mean.
I was the outsider. Um, and then my senior year, after having knee surgery, in football season, I wasn't, um, and stressed and depressed. I loved football, loved it.
Right.
I fucking loved hitting people.
Mm-hmm.
There's no better adrenaline rush than a football game on Friday night, knowing that I'm going to try to fuck somebody up.
Just playing in a big
Um,
game too. Like you make
yeah. Oh,
plays.
every game for us was a big game. It was you had to
Yeah.
win because our biggest our our school rival was Sandy Valley,
Mm-hmm.
but they were never really competitive with us. We blew them out every year that I was in school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but our biggest football like talent rival is either us or Ridgewood was the name of the school,
Mm-hmm.
Lafayette Ridgewood. Every year, my 4 years, it was either us or them that was going to win our conference.
Mm-hmm.
They were a division bigger than us. We played against a lot of schools that were, one or two divisions bigger than us as far as, you know, people and males enrolled in the school. Um, and it was either us or Ridgewood every year. Ridgewood always made the football playoffs in D5, I think they were. We
Mm-hmm.
were D6 all 4 years when I was in school. They always made the playoffs and would make a solid run. Um, but one of my coaches, I had a bad game, um, and I'll never forget it. He rips me out in the middle of the game, um, and then just never put me back in. And I was just like, it's my senior year. I've put in the 3 years of, you know,
Well,
fucking.
you got your stripes.
I got my stripes. I've, was always team guy. Running down the field when you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
With the offense when they would score a touchdown. You know what I mean. Um, you know, play calling on defense. I would help out with that, depending on who was in, stuff like that. But I had a bad year. My knee wasn't 100%. From squatting in baseball because I caught in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I don't know. I just felt my body felt tired by my senior year of football.
You just feel
I don't know
like
if
too,
you've
like just
ever.
all the pressure and everything too. Just
Yeah,
kind
I
of
just.
yeah, yeah,
It it was like I played every play afraid to fuck up.
Oh yeah, I've been there.
You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
you can't give 100% if you're afraid to make a mistake. And
I've actually,
I actually relate that now to
yeah.
working with your dad. We actually
Hmm.
just had a conversation about this last night. He goes, you just need to be more decisive. You know, make a decision and be willing to, whether it's the right decision or the wrong decision. Um, yeah, I might be upset about it, or we might talk about it, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna respect that you made a decision, and as
Hmm.
long as you can explain why you made that decision, you know what I mean.
Hmm.
You were decisive. This
Yeah.
is the way it's gonna be. This is what I'm doing. I'm gonna take this deal. I'm not gonna take this deal.
And it's
But I
like trust
relate
is
that
built.
pressure back, to
Yeah.
today's pressures.
Hmm.
Um, so, long story short, I was also I played defensive end. I'm
Hmm.
not a huge guy. Um, I'm 6 foot tall. I weighed 185 pounds in high school. But I was pretty fast. I was pretty
Hmm.
quick, especially off the ball. I was quick. I had a really good first step. Um, but by the time it's my senior year, a lot of 250, 260, 270 pounds, a lot bigger frames.
Right. Grown men.
Um, yeah,
Yeah.
same. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
it got tougher and tougher to, for me. Um, we had a junior that was like 6'5", farm boy, um, pretty quick, um, just a bigger guy, and he was
Hmm.
better at getting around the end um, than me. So I got benched my senior year after
Mm.
starting my whole junior year and performing really well. But we also changed. They used me differently my senior year. My junior year, I was more of I would cover the slot guy. I'd walk
Hmm.
out in a passing formation and cover the inside slot guy, which I did really well at. Really good at busting up screen plays, bubbles, stuff like that. Um, Luca's gonna join the podcast again. Hi, buddy. Hi, big boy. You got Milky, so you're calm. You're
He's
gonna
good
say
to
hi.
go.
You're gonna say hi to Joseph.
Yeah.
Um, but so for me, it was the pressures of not performing. I felt disrespected.
Hmm.
Um, I was still our punter. I
You were a
punted every.
punter?
Yeah, I was a really good punter.
Wow.
I punted, ever since seventh grade football. My
Wow. I
dad
didn't
was a
know that.
punter.
Hmm.
My dad was an offensive defensive lineman and also was a punter, which is not a common thing. But
Hmm.
ever since I was little, my dad always was teaching me how to punt a football because he goes if you can get good at punting, he goes it's the best freaking job on the field. You
Right.
know what I mean? It's
Yeah. But no, I want to. So you said you get to that point, you're benched. You feel
I still
defeated.
punted, but I was benched on defense.
But you're not playing like we all want to be.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's
yeah, and I was pissed. I mean,
yeah.
I was screaming at my coach on the sideline,
Oh
um,
really?
pissed. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I was my whole life taking constructive criticism.
Hmm.
You know what I mean, from my dad, my strict upbringing, and like I felt like that was like the breaking point for me in my life of like, hey, I've taken enough fucking shit. I've
Hmm.
had it. You know what I mean, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever felt like
No,
like
it's
like a
I'm.
breaking point where you just lose your cool and you were just like, this
Oh
is
yeah.
unacceptable. Like I'm not.
Oh,
You
I
know what I
had a
mean?
day. My last day of football at that school was actually pretty much my last day there. I had a coach who. No, number one, I want to clear. A lot of mine was a misunderstanding. I didn't know what was going on. Nobody around me knew what was going on, right?
Yeah, what
And
you were battling wasn't as well known
well,
back then either.
no, well, I didn't know, but it's kind of like, but this is a problem too. I see with a lot of people, and it's funny. I'm listening, I'm following along with your story, and I'm writing down some notes, but it's very similar to mine in terms of you feel like you have to suppress everything, and it's like you
Hmm.
said, you finally had enough. Like, okay, you know what? Fuck this shit. I'm not listening to this anymore. I've had enough. And that's what it is. It's bottled up. It's like that video he talked about. I played, he talks about energy. You're bottling up energy and that energy grows. And it's like, that's how I
Yeah,
was for a
seriously.
long time. I was suppressed that whole summer when I played football. Really, my whole time at that school, I was suppressing. Trying to figure it out on the fly, trying to get by. And then I had a similar thing. I had a couple coaches who I don't think looking back, I think for a long time I was angry, but I think just the misunderstanding and just, a lot of things. It was just the wrong place at the wrong time. You know what I mean? And so, there was a lot there because there would be times I'd be in drills with my health anxiety, and I'd start having a panic attack in the middle of a drill. You know what I mean? And so
Oh yeah.
I would just go off to the side. I don't know what's going on. It feels like you're having a heart attack. And I remember, and they just thought I was just tapping out and quitting, and but what kind of got me was they started putting a label on me. And you might have experienced this too. They start putting a label on you and they make you feel like you're inferior and that you're weak and that
Mm-hmm.
you're always quitting. I'm like, hey, man, I was somebody before I came to this place, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I know who I am. The people that really know me know who I am. I don't got to explain myself to nobody. But when you have that mindset and
He's
you have that
smiling.
belief in yourself, and then it gets you, like you said, you put in change. Then the change goes to unfamiliarity. Then from unfamiliarity, you go to you're kind of stressed, pressure, and everything. And then it doesn't help when you have a coach that sits there and just kind of degrades you and just pushes you down. You know, good coaches, yeah, there's times to get on guys when guys aren't slacking off, paying attention. But for the most part, it's always trying to teach and help them grow and get better. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
should get to know them. And it's like,
100%.
and I think that's
What?
why, like, my dad's learned that too, is because it's fun. You work with my dad. My dad's basically like your coach, but my
Yep.
dad's learned that from me, and he's learned that growing up, my dad's dad was very hard on him, very hard
Yeah.
and very rough.
Hard on him was an understatement.
Yeah, and so, but my dad understood that pain, but my dad's also addressed it, and that's the
Yep.
thing. You have to address these things because you can't suppress for so long. I feel like that's the biggest thing we see nowadays is suppression. And it's kind of like you said, you were on the sideline that night. You just had enough. Like, and that was your way of just letting it out. And so,
So, what led up to that as well
mhm,
is you're familiar with them walkthrough practices where you wear your shoulder
mhm.
pads, helmet,
Yeah,
and
on
just
Thursday night.
shorts. Yeah, Thursday night practice. We
Mhm,
were doing punt team. Just we would do a fake 2 minute drill, act like we didn't get it. We'd run the fake punt.
mhm,
10 or 15 long snaps with me kicking. Um, and I remember I run out everybody. As a punter, I was responsible for making sure there was all 11 guys on the field for the
right.
offense, and no extras or no less. Um, Break the huddle, go back. I'm walking back, and I lined up at 13 yards behind the snapper
Mhm,
instead of our thing was 14 in a walkthrough practice. I lined up at 13 yards behind the snapper. My coach like absolutely loses his shit. Runs out on the field, grabs me by my face mask, starts screaming at me. If you ever can line up at 13 yards again, it'll be the last fucking time you see the football field. And he like jerks me towards him and then kicks me in the chest and to where I fall down in front of everybody. And
mhm,
then that Friday is when I got benched. So I was like, he had it out for me since I got here. He didn't
mhm,
want to play me, but he played me because I was good. You know what I mean? And like, granted, like I probably wasn't. I didn't have as many sacks or interceptions my senior year, but they also didn't use me the same way that they used me my senior year as they did my junior year.
mhm,
Um, so that like after the Thursday that happening, and then him telling me I wasn't playing anymore, I just fucking lost it. I was,
mhm. No,
and I was,
it's
and
similar.
it's like looking back
Yeah.
now, it's like you can't like when you're a kid, you just take it. You're part of the football team. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, coach.
You wouldn't go up to one of your salesmen now and kick him in the chest and grab him by their shirt and number one, that's
Well,
assault.
I
But
also,
you wouldn't
yeah,
have,
yeah,
you wouldn't
I
do that
would
to a
never
kid
do that.
even if you coach football, you would never, nobody would ever do that. I mean, Here, I've been around great coaches, like great coach. And when probably my favorite coach I ever had. He is my favorite coach, John Potok. Uh, I think you met the Potoks, I believe.
I met
Whenever,
Zach.
yeah, you met Zach. But John was my coach from my football
Actually,
coach
on
my
your
whole life.
podcast, I met Zach.
Yeah, but John was my football coach from age 7. But John would get on us. He would discipline us when we needed it. Because sometimes we were slacking off. He had to get on our ass and make us do leg lifts and all that, make us run because you got to not paying attention. But John was also good at he would just pull me to the side because I was the center. And so I'm seeing everything at the line of scrimmage. I'm seeing, if there's somebody missed a block, he's coming to me. Right as soon as we come to the sideline, he's coming to me. But he was also good at communicating. He would let me talk. He would let me, you know, uh, see what I saw, and if I was wrong, we'd go back. But there was it was like a relationship though, and that's when it started to build. I think a lot of these coaches nowadays, man, this has been like this for long. You get these hard headed coaches. They try to everything's got to be perfect, perfectionism, and I was gonna be completely honest. I think a lot of them just have it's either one or two things that I've noticed is number one, they had expectations and they were back in their playing days and weren't met, and they feel like they weren't enough, so now it's like they're coaching, they're taking their anger out on other people. And also
Mm-hmm.
number two, you get somebody who's just, let's be honest, they act like a bunch of punk ass coaches nowadays. They try to act all hard headed, just whole rah rah bullshit, and they don't even know they don't know how to relate. You got to know how to communicate with people. You can't
Mm-hmm.
talk to everybody the same. And obviously you know this what you do now. You can't talk to everybody the same way. Some guys they respond to that. Some guys, well, not pushing and shoving, but some guys respond to you like you fire it more. But
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of
I'm
guys
okay with
too.
getting my ass chewed out
Right. Some guys respond to that
if I
well, but some
deserve it.
people
Just
don't.
don't disrespect me or treat me like I'm.
Right. Don't belittle me and degrade me. And
Yeah,
it's just it's crazy. I never knew this.
especially in front of 42 other guys.
Right. And it's crazy. I never knew like your story. That's why I'm glad you came on. But it's just how similar you and I are in our past because my last day was kind of similar in a way. I didn't have it wasn't like that, but mine was kind of like it was multiple incidents that led to one final event, my last practice, to where, I felt like I was belittled and embarrassed this day. Uh, and I just felt like too, like when you're going through it, and you might relate to this, it's like, is somebody ever going to pull me aside and just ask me like how I'm doing?
Mm-hmm.
What I mean? Like, that's why I kept wondering. Like, do these fucking people? Do they not realize? Like, do they not see maybe something? They just think I'm just like this is normal because I don't think it's normal. I don't feel normal. Like what I'm feeling, what I'm going through, and it's like,
Yeah.
hey man, are any of you guys gonna pull me aside and like, can I even tell you? Will you even listen? And you start to lose trust, and when you start to lose trust, people around you, now you really feel uncomfortable, and you really get down. You know what I mean? It's all just an
Yeah.
accumulation of things, but just suppressing it and yeah,
So
my
what?
last day was similar, and then I just kind of had it. And I remember you could probably ask my dad about this. I remember my dad picked me up from practice that day. Uh, it was pretty bad. I can tell you that, and it was bad. I mean, my dad never saw me that mad. If I could have choked some people out that day, I probably would have, and I wouldn't have. I'm serious. I wouldn't have gave a shit. I
Yeah.
just had it. Like I was to the point, but it was. I remember that last day too. I remember just like that label though. This I feel like the coach put on me. My teammates now believed it. And so they were treating me in similar ways. And I'm kind of like, hey man, I'm not what I mean? It's just kind of like, you start to feel like you're belittled. And I'm like, that's not who I am. I'm nobody's bitch, for lack of better term.
Yeah.
I'm not, I'm
100%.
respectful and I look up to older, but I don't do that. And I kind of got
Yeah.
the point. I said, you know what? I'm not putting up with this. That's not who I am.
Especially when you treat everybody else. You know what I
Right.
mean?
You try to be cool to everybody else. You try to that's why, I try to get along, try
You're
to fit,
supportive. Like, hey, great play, man. You know what I mean? Nice
yeah,
tackle. You know what I mean?
try to
Um.
yeah. And I tried to share my qualities and try to but when you just got the wrong and it all starts at the top when you have the wrong people at the top it reflects down to the rest of the
Mm-hmm.
everybody else and so I guess kind of we'll wrap it up with towards the end here uh so you get to the low point kind of you finish out the season What was your mindset coming out of high school? Really, just kind of through all that, kind of where you are. Where did you end up, and kind of how did you start to move forward?
Um, so I did not go to college.
Mm,
I was depressed. I was pissed off. Um, I was an all A and B student. I was in all advanced classes. You know what I mean? I took calculus one, calculus two, physics, all that. I got all A's and B's. Um, my m- grade started to. I stopped. I just got to the point where I was like, you know what? I don't give a shit anymore. You know what I mean?
mm,
I was pretty much fuck this.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
I was
You're
just
like very angry.
I
Yeah,
was angry.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to, with my dad being a strict and
Mm.
you know my dad was a badass. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he sees a lot of
I
shit
I
every night.
didn't feel like I could. Yeah, I didn't know how to have that conversation with him,
Mm-hmm.
nor did I feel like it's not that I couldn't have that conversation with my dad. It was just like I didn't want him to be disappointed in me. That was always my biggest thing was, I don't, I never wanted to disappoint my parents or my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like on top of the pressures and stresses of, not playing well,
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I had, shh, buddy, I'm trying to find your binky. You dropped your binky. I felt like I let him down in that sense.
Yeah.
I felt like I let him down. I felt like I let myself down. I felt like I was shortchanged. I was depressed, pissed off, angry. Um, I have a lot of people that I'm really, really good friends with that I played with,
Mm-hmm.
um, still to this day. Um, you know, I guess the thing that hurt the most is I say my best friend is Clay,
Mm-hmm.
um, Travis. Um, the thing that irritated me the most was, like Zach is a lifelong friend for you,
Mm-hmm.
and would probably probably would try to stick up for you
Oh yeah, him and I.
in those situations
Yeah,
back then.
yeah.
I didn't have that. I didn't grow up there. I wasn't the guy from there. The people that I was friends with, and the few people I would actually hang out with, because I didn't get invited to hang out, to do the stuff that everybody else did. I pretty much went to practice, went to school, and then went home. And
Mm-hmm.
I started playing, all the way through school. I was in the band as well. I did not perform at halftime though, which is a whole ordeal with my band director. So I ended up quitting band my junior year because he said if I didn't come out in March and play at halftime, he'd fail me. So I said, okay, I just won't take band then.
Mm-hmm.
So I quit playing that. So I started teaching myself how to play the guitar and the piano,
Mm-hmm.
and really started to try to express myself through music, I guess you could say.
Hmm. Yeah.
And I was really good at the saxophone. I was um, first chair honors. I was first chair at Barberton before I transferred. Um, Solo and ensemble, I would get the one rating, which is superior. It's the best rating you can get
Mm-hmm.
every year. Playing, the most difficult classical music pieces. So I really tried to, I guess, redirect my energy towards music, but I was still upset, still angry, still depressed, still mad. And
Yeah.
I don't know, it really took until I would say like my breakthrough moment. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Was when I got my health and life insurance license.
Yeah, you feel like you accomplished something.
Yeah, I felt like I did something. I won.
Yeah.
Started making decent money. I mean, I
You took that
wasn't.
energy and you put it elsewhere.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I sorry.
No, you're
Hold
good.
up 1 second. I gotta grab his binky. He's got his whole dang hand in his mouth.
No.
Um, but I felt like I finally had accomplished something, been successful. And granted, my senior year, I um,
No, I mean, it sounds. I mean, it's just. I'm amazed, just kind of how similar. Like, well, we're almost identical and kind of different. Like, how they went, but uh, kind of very similar in our past, just in high school, and
I will
uh,
say, like
you know,
now,
it's crazy, man.
I'd say now, I think because of all of that in my past,
Mm-hmm.
I've become a lot more empathetic to what other people are going through.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because nobody ever asked me, "Hey, are you okay? Hey, what's wrong?" Or you know what I mean?
Yeah, you feel like you just got, like I said, it's when you feel like you got to suppress something and you don't know how to express it, you feel really lost. You're like, because you know what I'm saying? It's like you lose like your identity.
I
Like,
felt
it's
like
like,
I was on an island
yeah,
by
you,
myself.
100%. That's how I felt. You feel like you're on like an island. You're just like, when is this ever going to end?
Hmm.
That's how I felt. I was just like, when is this going to end? When am I going to,
Well,
you know what I
the
mean?
worst part is I was angry,
Yeah.
depressed. I had no confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and if you go back, if you can find some of my old pictures, I was a damn good looking dude. I ain't even kidding you. Um, you know what I'm saying? GQ magazine material, baby.
Oh, hell no.
I'm just messing. I'm just messing. I was a really good looking kid though. You know what I mean? I I never struggled with, having a girlfriend or anything like that. Um, but it got to I'd say the low point was when I started hating myself.
Mm-hmm.
I hated who I was. I hated what I was going through. I was mad at myself because I thought, you know, it's all my fault.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yeah, there's what is it, external, if that's not the right word, I'm sorry. Circumstances, you know what I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that were really the problem, but after it just happens over and over and over again for a certain amount of time, you
You
know,
start to think it's you.
yeah, 100%.
Did you feel
Um,
like, not to cut you up, did you feel like you were starting to carry those opinions and labels that everybody else gave you? Did you feel like you were starting to believe in that? Like that, you know what, maybe they're right. This is who I am.
on certain things, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The coach would always just say, "Well, you're just not good enough."
Right. So you start to believe that.
I'm like, yeah, I started to, and I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, I was third on the team in fucking tackles and tackles for a loss
Right.
last year. How am I not good enough? I was, fourth on the team in interceptions. I had the third most sacks on the team.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
had, what are you doing? So then, graduating, um, towards the end of my senior year, like the very, very end,
Mm-hmm.
um, was a little better because it was like, this chapter of my life is about to end. I felt
Right. You could
relieved.
refresh. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt
Yeah.
relieved. Um, I moved out of my parents' house at 18, and my oldest brother lived in Canton. So
Mm-hmm.
I moved out and moved in with him because I wanted to just get away from the city. I did not want to
Yeah.
be
You just want a
around
fresh
the
start.
yeah, I didn't want to be around any of those people anymore because I was still angry.
Yeah.
Um, like looking back today, I have no ill will or bitterness against it. I'll go back and, if they have like a big game,
Hmm.
I'll try to go down and support and
Yeah.
watch. And if they have a fundraiser, if they're selling like hoodies,
Hmm.
football hoodies for a fundraiser, or the discount cards, you know what I mean, like the
Yeah.
$20 discount cards. I'll buy those to try to help out.
Yeah.
Um, um, it's just the main thing for me is, the big picture is, no matter if you're a nerdy kid, you know what I mean,
Hmm.
or athletic, or musically inclined, because I was kind of all of it. I got really good grades. I was in all advanced classes. I played 3 sports. Uh,
GQ.
GQ magazine, baby.
Damn. Yeah.
But I
That's
was
funny.
also, musically inclined. There were certain things I got picked on for. I got picked on for being in the band. The
Hmm.
band. You're a band fag. Was the you know what I mean was the thing,
Hmm.
or um, you know, you're not good enough on the getting made fun of by my coach. One time, my coach picked me up in the locker room and flipped me upside down by my legs and like shook me and was laughing at me in the middle of the locker room with everybody in it. You know what I mean? It's just like,
Damn. You had
yeah,
some
it's
incredible
like
patience.
shit nowadays, like that you wouldn't have a job.
No, or here, I'll be
You would
honest.
get sued
Yeah, I mean, if
nowadays.
some of these guys nowadays too, once you put hands on somebody, it's on.
Yeah,
Like I'm gonna whoop
yeah.
that ass. Like, oh, it's game
Yeah,
on
I
from
wasn't
there.
like that though. Like I was always I was a lover, not a fighter.
Yeah, and
Um,
I was sometimes I was just you're kind of like in shock too. Yeah, I mean, you're
yeah.
kind of like, what the fuck? Like,
I just remember walking out after that happened because it happened before practice. I was pissed off because a guy made a like a back then made like a fake video um, of something. I'm not gonna say what it was.
mm,
Um, a fake video of something and sent it to everybody in the school. And I was
mm,
fucking out there screaming at him. I was pissed off. I was upset. And I'm like, dude, this is a dude I play with. You know what I mean? We
right.
fucking go through 2 days together, fucking weight room together. You know what I mean?
Now, was this after this coach started his shit?
Well, ever since I got there,
Oh, okay.
shit
So
like
this
that
is
would
before.
go on.
All right.
Um,
So it's
but
almost like he
the
felt like it
coach
was.
comes out and hears me yelling, pissed
Yeah.
off. And he picks me up, shakes me, starts laughing. He goes, yeah, I can't remember exactly what he said. Um, it's okay. It's okay, buddy. We're almost done. I promise. I promise. Um, and then I just remember I was so upset and emotionally, I guess, distraught. I just remember walking out. It was on a Thursday. This was also happened on a Thursday walk through practice. I remember walking out to the field with my helmet on, and I didn't take my helmet off the whole practice because I was just crying the whole
Mm,
time. Nobody said, are you okay? What's going on? Um, none of the other coaches, said anything. It was just kind of,
yeah, just whatever.
it was, it was whatever.
Like it's just that, but it's like they were just kind of like, oh, it's just Jeremy.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. No, yeah, totally. It's just it's crazy. I just can't believe like how similar a lot of our. I mean, trying to think.
So like
Yeah, I mean,
the main purpose, let me real quick, the
no, you're
main
good.
purpose of wanting to have this conversation is I hope somebody somewhere that is going through something like that, a high school kid, something like that. My hope is that somebody will listen to this and realize that they're not alone. They're not the only person that's been
Hmm.
through that. You can get through it. There is another side. I'm happy in my life now. I have a beautiful, healthy 3-month-old baby boy. I've got a beautiful wife that puts up with my shit for the last 7 years that we've been together. Um,
She's the real MVP.
she
Yeah,
is. She puts
yeah,
up with the long hours at work.
yeah.
Um, she puts up with everything. But the main thing is I just hope that um, me talking about this wasn't woe me or what I've been through. The whole point of it is I hope that somebody else that's either athletic, nerdy, whatever it is, if you're being bullied, uh, it's not okay to be bullied. I
Mm-hmm.
will say that. Like I never bullied anybody. That wasn't my, you know what I mean. I would get
Right.
irritated if I saw one of the guys I played with picking on a kid that was less fortunate,
Mm-hmm.
or non-athletic, or you know what I mean. Whatever it would be, that there's nothing that pisses me off more than seeing somebody being made fun of or bullied because of who they are, where they came from, social or economic status.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's just not okay to me. But just
Right.
know that it's there is a brighter side in life of things to come.
Absolutely.
You
And
can get through that, and you can use
yeah.
that energy in a positive way to better yourself. So kind of the way I chambered it was,
Mm-hmm.
once I got that health and life insurance gig and
Mm-hmm.
got my license to sell health and life insurance, um, I changed it from being pissed off and angry to what, big boy? What you doing? You silly Willy. You silly
We got
boy.
Jeremy in action today on Daddy
Yeah.
Duties.
I
Yeah.
chambered it to you know, I was still angry, but I was going to be more successful than everybody that I went to school with. All the kids that picked on me, I was going to make more money than them. I was going to have more things. I changed it to kind of a monetary thing to drive me to be more successful,
Mm-hmm.
which makes you feel good for a certain amount of time,
Then it wears off.
but then it wears off. It
Yeah.
really does, 100%. But I, for me, I feel like I needed that win of, hey,
Just
I'm
to prove to yourself, like,
just
hey,
to
you know
prove to
what? I can
myself
do.
I can win and I can do
Yeah.
better than these kids. I'm better than them, which is really selfish.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I felt like there's certain points in everybody's life where you need to be selfish. You need to focus on yourself
Mm-hmm.
and love yourself before you can love others, I guess you
Right.
could say.
No, you
So
got to
I
find it
needed that
within.
win to be able to make that work
No,
and get to
100%.
where
And
I am.
yeah, it's. I was gonna ask you just about finding yourself, and it's funny how you did that. Uh, because I mean, it's just crazy just how similar we are. But I went through the same thing, like I said, and for a while I was angry, pissed off. You know, that I ain't never going back to that place. The hell with all of them. But then over time, you know, like you said, that anger starts to wear off, and you start to really get. You really have to look within. You get to a point. Everybody's gonna get to a point in life where you got to look at yourself in the mirror. At some
Mm-hmm.
point, you can run for all you want to. You can run in life, but you eventually you got to be honest with yourself and look in the mirror at one point. It could be at any age, any age. Uh, and for me, that's how I got to the same point, and it really led up till about 2021. That's when the anger started to really boil over, and you know, but I had to really find myself. I got kind of got in that gray area, and man, over time too, I started to realize is, you know what, a lot of what I didn't know what was going on at the time. Nobody around me knew what was going on at the time. You know, uh, who knows? And you gotta be like, I just, it's like you said, you start to become more understanding too of the people that did it to you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I've learned, especially with what I know and all I've learned, and just how many people are just. I mean, it's just crazy much dysfunction. A lot of people are surrounded by growing up, and just a lot of just shit. You know what I mean? And just
Mm-hmm.
things we're not aware of. And nobody's perfect. Nobody's ever gonna be perfect. But I feel like a lot of this, the main issue is just kind of like we'll wrap on this. It's just our society in general nowadays. There's so much pressure. There's so much, you know, standards, and you got to look a certain way. You got to act a certain way. You got to
Dress a
reach.
certain way.
You got to
You
dress a certain
gotta.
way. You got to be X, Y, and Z by this age, and all this. Man, if people looked at my life, and you know me, what personally, if people
Yeah.
looked at my timeline without knowing me by those standards, they'd say, "Oh, this kid's a bum," or "This kid didn't make it." You know, this kid, what the hell? but you don't know what people are going through. And for a
Hmm.
while, I used to listen to that shit. And then I got to the point I said, you know what? I know who I am. And I kind of hit a rock bottom last year. It was last in 2021. And I just said, you know what? I don't care anymore. I owe this to me. I'm going to find me and be who I want to be. And it's led all the way up till now. And so now I can do this. And I've been very fortunate enough to meet a lot of and get this to learn. So I'm starting to learn from other guys that do what I do at a higher level. And so, but again, you're never as far away as you think you are. All it takes is just one step, one moment, one anything. Just to be and just being honest with yourself. That's a step. That's a start. And just saying, you know what, I'm gonna be who I want to be. Uh, Regardless of what people think around me, I have goals and dreams. I can reach them. I have um, aspirations and things I want to say. There's constructive ways you can do these things. There's people out there, like Jeremy said, that have been where you've been, but you just got to be open to find them. I didn't find the anxiety guy until I went on Google and just typed in anxiety on YouTube. No, it was on YouTube, sorry. And he's the first thing that popped up. And here I am uh, almost 5 years later. And him and I are great friends now. We're doing work together. You know what I mean? But most importantly, he's helped me. It was somebody
Yep.
way out of left field. But you got to be open to it. And you got to be, and with all that being said, take a look around our society now, the suppression, the standards, and everything. You know, we're not taught how to express. We're not taught how to constructively get better. We're just told to deal with it, shut up, and move
Especially as
forward.
men.
Especially as men, yeah. Especially, and you look at it. If you really look at the coaching, like the coach, Meister's my coach, the same thing. Do what I say. If you mess it up, what's wrong with you? The hell with you? You're done. Get out of here. And we just constantly throw people to the side too. We give up on people. We give up on things. We don't get it right, and it's instant gratification. It's like this microwave mentality we have. But anything worthwhile, anything that tastes really good, you want to slow cook it. You know what I mean? You want to
Hmm.
take it with care. You want to take it with uh, respect, and have respect on yourself. And so I guess kind of we'll wrap with this. Kind of what's the biggest thing you see, based on the points I said, and kind of what's helped you now. Now as you're a new father, uh, you're a new homeowner, you're new a lot of things right now, and so new job. What's kind of helped you
Um,
now in this new chapter in your life when you're in change again, and so.
so great support system.
Mhm.
My wife is super supportive. Um, Anytime, you know, there's still days I come home from work and I'm just like, I just need to sit in silence. I
Mhm.
just need, my thing is I'll kind of dive into YouTube videos and just because it takes my mind off everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm focused on
Just take
that.
your mind somewhere else.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, she's super supportive. I mean, she goes, obviously she's got a lot of pressure in her life with her job and
Mhm.
the baby, you know what I mean? She's going through a lot of changes. Um, so just being able to talk,
Yeah.
um, him, I mean, this is the biggest blessing you get in life, man, is having a kid. Um,
Mm.
it can be a pain in the butt sometimes, but it's the best pain in the butt. You know what I mean? Especially
Mhm.
when he looks like your little twin, and he
Mhm.
should have been named Jeremy Jr., but Mama wouldn't let Daddy. Say hi, buddy. But he looks. If you saw a baby picture of me, literally identical to me when I was a baby.
Mhm.
Um, Great support system. I have a better relationship. Um, I've always had a great relationship with my father.
Mhm.
But I feel like I have a better relationship now. We can talk. We talk about more things, more personable, more. We talk about financial stuff. We talk about um, goals, dreams. Um,
What do you think changed
your
that?
dad.
If you don't mind me asking, what do you think changed that to grow more?
My relationship with my dad.
Yeah.
Me being Me maturing and realizing that um, talking to my dad about things I was struggling with wasn't going to disappoint him.
Also, the
Or
understanding helped you.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, me maturing a little bit more, obviously, because when you're a teenager, you know, your body's going through all, your hormones,
Yeah, a lot of change, a
the
lot of
way you
changing. Yeah.
think, your brain is changing a ton.
Hmm.
So you're more emotional. Um, you act out of more emotion when you're a teenager than you do.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, things are
Intellectually.
different. Yeah.
Um, just as time went on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, being more mature, realizing that that they're not going to be here forever.
Hmm.
Um, and realizing that my dad is more, what's the word for it? I mean, part of it was I thought I knew everything
Yeah.
when I was a teenager, but we all did.
Yeah.
But being more open to his wisdom, I guess you could say, also kind of helped our relationship grow. Seeing him as a grandpa with Luca, and
Mm.
um, you just prioritize things differently as you get older and older and older. And
You allow
not
yourself
saying
to be
I'm
open to newer things too. You allow yourself to
100%.
be vulnerable in a
hmm
good way. You know.
I'm more comfortable with being vulnerable, I guess you could say. Um,
That's why I asked that question because that's a big thing for I had
as a
experience. You know.
teenager, I hated the vulnerability.
Yeah. You run
I, I,
from it.
I saw it as weakness.
Yeah.
But now I see it as, you know, everybody has vulnerabilities and things that they, are uncomfortable with or emotional about, or,
Hmm.
so, um, having a better relationship, um, having a good life coach and a really good, mentor and your dad,
Hmm.
me and I can tell your dad anything, really.
Hmm.
Um, Meeting you and seeing what you know what I mean, and
Hmm.
kind of discussing what you've been through and the similarities between the two of us,
Hmm.
um, helps. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love you like a brother. I consider you, your
Mm.
family. I mean,
Oh yeah.
you know, um,
No, we love you, man. Love all you guys.
just to see you put yourself out there and face what you're going through, and
Hmm.
being open to sharing, uh, helps helps other people just get it off their chest, just talk about it.
Hmm.
Um, seeing people you never think would commit suicide.
Hmm.
Realizing that that person could have been helped, but they just felt like they didn't have anybody to talk to, or they felt like they couldn't talk about it. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? People just need to have the tough conversation,
Yeah. Well, that's
the
why I
hard
asked to.
conversation.
I asked about your relationship with your dad. We'll finish up here. I know you got to get back to your daddy duties, but
It's okay. It's okay.
hold on.
It's okay.
But I know, like, too, just allow yourself to be vulnerable. You know, embrace uncertainty. And that's what we'll close with. You know, embracing vulnerability, embracing uncertainty, and just the doors that can open for you, and just where it leads you. And you allow yourself to take that leap of faith and just step out. And that's why I do this so other people can see it. And I'm glad, very thankful you did this today because it's not easy to come up here and say a lot of these things. Um,
Yeah,
and I understand that, and I don't. I try to get more people to come on and do this, but I understand some people aren't comfortable with it. But you are willing to, and I appreciate that. And uh,
100%.
that's what we need more of. Just got to be vulnerable. Like this today was vulnerability. Jeremy coming up here telling a story like that. That's being vulnerable, but it takes a courage and a wisdom to do that. But also, when you speak your truth, and I've said this many times, you set yourself more free,
Mm-hmm.
and you just you really do, man. You start to just gain more clarity and more. You just start to really strive forward more and more. And so, awesome show today.
Heck yeah, man.
That was great.
I enjoyed it.
Really appreciate it. I know we have to navigate through. We still got it done, and a hell of a testimony. Uh,
To
and
Luca for letting us get through it, huh,
hey,
buddy?
Luca he got his camera time in. He's the real star here.
Yeah.
And,
Luca's over here drooling on himself.
yeah, but no, man, I appreciate it again, man, and love you like a brother, and proud of you and everything you're doing now, and
I
uh,
appreciate it, man.
looking
Same to
forward to
you.
watching you grow from afar. And so, any
Pretty soon you'll
closing
be,
words here for you?
yeah.
All right.
Um, no matter what anybody out there, whatever you're battling with, struggling with, whether it's emotional stress, depression, pressures of life, whatever it is, just know that everything in life happens for a reason. Um, God believes in you. God loves you. He wouldn't put those feelings there if it wasn't for a bigger reason, whether it's to help you grow, mature, to make you wiser. As most gray-haired people are, they have infinite wisdom of things and life experiences that they've been through. Those are all there to, A, help you grow as a human being. B, if you're getting ready to start a family, to be able to, you know, coach your children, or other people struggling with it, as Joseph is using this podcast to do with things he struggled with in his life, and the, the struggles of having anxiety, um, just to be able to channel that energy in a good way to be able to help others and know that there is an end to the tunnel. Everybody's race, goes at a different pace. You will get through it. It's okay. Um, just talk about it. Don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid. Don't be, you know, think you're um, less of a person because you're struggling with something. Everybody in life struggles with something. If you point at somebody, and with a million people in a room and point at one person, and they try to tell you they've never been through what you've been through, or they've never struggled with anything, they're a freaking liar. Everybody goes through stuff in life. Life is hard. Um, just know that there's people out there that'll listen, people that care, that people that love you. And just don't give up.
Absolutely. Great closing remarks there, and appreciate it again, brother. And you know,
Love you, bro.
love you
He's
too, man.
passed out. He
Yeah.
just passed out.
Now he's done. Now he's going to sleep.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, he's
You
gonna be
want?
quiet as a mouse.
Yeah. But
That's babies for you.
yeah. Well, enjoy the rest of your day, man. Your day off. I know you deserve it. Need a day off. And, well, you going up to the Cavs game later?
Yeah, we're going up to the Cavs game, so
Cool.
we'll hopefully
Get the
it'll be a
dub.
good one.
Get the dub tonight. Who they play tonight?
Orlando Magic. It's breast cancer awareness tonight
Oh, okay.
at the Susan B. Komen Foundation. So
Cool.
I don't have any pink stuff. Otherwise, I'd wear pink.
Yeah. And then back to work tomorrow. You're Lieutenant Lynch. Report for duty.
Back to Lieutenant Lynch reporting for duty.
Yeah. Anybody know that's Jeremy's name at work now? He's Lieutenant Lynch. Um, when the alarm goes off at the work at midnight for some odd reason, every now and then, my dad and the other boss, they dispatch Jeremy
To go investigate.
go investigate and lock the doors. So
Meet the sheriffs there.
yeah,
Yeah.
meet the sheriffs there. But all right, man. I'll see you the next time you come on, and appreciate you coming on again, man.
Absolutely, dude. I hope you have a great day, brother. Love
I
you,
will.
man.
Like to. I'll talk to you later.
All right, peace.
Peace. All right, I want to thank Jeremy for coming on. That was a hell of a podcast, a hell of a story. It's great that him and I our timelines are kind of what we went through is similar in this around the same age groups. Mine ended sophomore year, his ended senior year, but same kind of experiences. His were a lot more intense in certain ways. Mine were a little different in certain ways. But in the end, though, you feel like you get to that point, like you said, you get down, you feel depressed, you feel like you let everybody down, and when you're not meeting those expectations, not just in high school when you're like playing ball, but in life in general, it could be with your job, could be with anything, just in life in general. It's very easy too to get caught up in looking at other people around you. Oh, so and so, like just people my age, for instance, like I'm 23. Oh, so and so's already out of college, they got a job, they're married, and all this. That's them. Focus on you. God has a different plan for you. Don't compare yourself to anybody, and don't. People are putting labels on you and saying you're X, Y, and Z, and you need to. They just constantly berate you and tell you what you need to do and what you don't have. Don't listen to that shit. That's all shit. That's what it is. Because as long as the only person you need to owe it to is God and you, and if God accepts you for who you are, and He does, then you should accept you for who you are, where you are. That's all that matters. And so, that's something I went through, and it's Jeremy's gone through. And Jeremy now, he has a great job and family, a beautiful family, a home. He's doing well for himself, and he made it through all that to where he is now. Same thing with me. There's still some things I'm growing through my journey, and things I don't have yet that I would like, but it'll happen. It's gonna happen, and it can happen at any time. And all I can do each day is just make sure I focus on what I can do each day to get better. And so, it's like the mama mentality. If you're a Kobe Bryant fan, like I was, and I became more of a Kobe fan after he passed because I started to learn more about him. And I actually, what I like about Kobe the most, obviously, he's a hell of a player, but I like what he did post career in his latter years. The wisdom he was dropping to kids, and just his story, but his mindset. His mindset was he separated himself to me from other athletes. It's something unique. You don't really hear athletes speak the way he spoke. And if you listen to guys that knew him in the playing days, he was kind of like that. He was always kind of different than everybody else. Guys would be out, at the club and everything at 4 a.m. He's in the gym. That's a different mentality. That's a different mindset. And so, but again, like the mom mentality, each day try to be better version of yourself each and every day. And so each day, what I like to do is write down some. It's good. This is why it's good to journal, express. That's the biggest thing. Allow yourself to be vulnerable, accept, and express. And so again, maybe get a journal, write down each day, and don't compare your wins to other people or what's seen as big in society. If you like, for instance, I had agoraphobia. I've struggled with agoraphobia for a long time. Where maybe there's agoraphobia along with health anxiety. You can't leave your house at times. You're afraid to leave your home. But what I started to do is once I got over those labels and everything, I started to tell myself, okay, you know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go a block away from the house. Then I'm gonna go to the store. I went in the store. I bought something. Then I'm gonna go to the mailbox. Then I'm gonna go. It's small things like that, and you start to write them down. And I'm just giving an example. It could be anything. It could be, I allowed myself to be vulnerable and talk to so and so at work today, or hey, I approached that girl finally and said something to her, or small wins like that, and they start to add up over time. They're baby steps, and that's anything worthwhile takes time. It takes patience, and it takes those small steps, those building blocks, to get to your final destination, to your goal. And so, but again, you got to learn to enjoy the journey and accept the journey and have fun in the journey. That's the key. And so, and having patience and all that, because if you don't have any of that, you'll be like a hamster on a wheel. You're just going to stay stuck in that circle. You're never going to get anywhere. And so, allow yourself to be vulnerable and just take the leap of faith. And like always, I appreciate you guys for watching today. If you're new to this channel, if you like this kind of content, we also do a Browns post-game reaction as well every Sunday, which Jeremy's been on a couple times. Like, subscribe, and share this channel. And leave a comment below what the biggest thing you took away from today. I want to hear your guys. I always like hearing feedback. And so please leave a comment below. My contact information is below. I'll link Jeremy's Facebook and stuff below if you want to reach out to him. Any questions about what he said. We would love to help you guys. This is an open platform and judgment-free zone. Everything's confidential. If you reach us in private, just if you feel like you need to speak out to somebody, we're here for you. Or anybody. If there's somebody in your life you trust or you need to tell them something, then say it. If you're looking for anxiety and panic support, my man below, the anxiety guy, check out his channel. My testimonial video I did on his channel will be in the bottom below. Go subscribe to him. The video I played earlier will also be in the description below if you want to see that again. And yeah, that's and we said a lot today. I think we've said all there needs to be said for this topic. I mean, we could sit here all day and go more about it, but Jeremy gave a lot of great information today, and it was awesome, and I'm proud of him for doing it. And so, yeah, that's all I got for you guys today. I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out here. Go.